Sramota. Hello. What's going on, everybody? Look, today I want to talk about all the teams that are in Group F because 3 out of 4 of those teams heavily disappointed in this international break this week. As most of us know, Group F consists of Belgium, Morocco, Canada, and Croatia. First, it all started with Morocco losing to the USA 3-0. Then on the same day, Belgium and Croatia had hefty defeats. Belgium lost 4-1 to Netherlands, and Croatia lost 3-0 to Austria. And keep in mind, Belgium and Croatia were both the home teams in their matchup. And along with that, after I already recorded this whole video, I've discovered that the Canadian national team is protesting the federation because they are not happy with the pay. So morale obviously is at an absolute low. We'll get into that at the end of the video. So yeah, going back to the 3 teams that actually played this week, but were dreadful. These are all shameful defeats, even if they're friendlies, even if they're just Nations League matches. Obviously, not all of the starting players were there for each of the matchups, but some key players still were present. Obviously, it didn't go well for any of these teams, and they can bounce back from this, but all of them should still take this as a massive warning sign. I don't know which of these 3 losses is worse. I mean, I'd probably say Belgium's is the most excusable. That doesn't mean they should be off the hook, but Netherlands is a top team. No disrespect to either USA or Austria, but come on, Austria is not even in the World Cup. Yes, they were in the playoffs. They made it close, lost to Wales 2-1, but this was a side that finished 4th in their World Cup qualifier group, let's not forget. This is a pretty inconsistent side that does have their moments still. They made it to the round of 16s in Euro 2020 and actually had a decent fight against the winners, Italy. I was absolutely gutted when we lost 3-0. If I don't look that upset to you, then just go check out my stream, I did. But also, Croatia's group in the Nations League is actually very tough. Denmark and France, top teams at the moment. Denmark just got a fabulous win against France as well. To be honest, Austria was the only team in this group that it seemed like we could definitely beat. And we didn't just lose. We lost 3-0. Yes, Modric wasn't starting. Yes, we didn't get to see Perisic play. But one of the biggest complaints I have for Croatia is that we don't have a consistent striker. Kramaric started and he failed to turn up. Dalic brought on Budimir. And I'm sorry, but Budimir is not the answer for the national team. No way he's going to live up to the hype of Mario Mandzukic. We don't have a solid center forward, and that is what could definitely cost us in this World Cup. We're going to have to heavily rely on our midfield, our wingers. Ivan Perisic is an absolute brilliant player, and his absence is always noticed. It was here, obviously, against Austria. To be fair, Croatia chose to start Bricalo, who is not in the best form. Meyer, who's an exciting upcoming youngster, but obviously couldn't do it all by himself. And then for the midfielders, Pasalic was the one I was pretty disappointed in, and to be honest, I always rated him as a very underrated midfielder, but it seems like we're going to have to heavily rely on the others, Brozovic, Kovacic, and Modric. When Modric came on in the second half, he obviously created more chances, but it looked like nothing. We looked hopeless up top. We really did. Austria had some very clinical finishes and made our defenders look absolutely stupid, which is the next point I want to talk about. Dalic decided to put in for the back line Juranovic, Pongracic, Chaleta Tsar, and Sosa, and then Ivušić in goal. Pongracic got his chance here, and I think that's that. Look, not selected all the time for the national team. Didn't really impress, obviously, here, leaking 3 goals. Juranovic obviously started a lot in the past, but I think it's time to implement some other fullbacks. Bring back Šime. He's doing okay for himself again at Atletico. Ivušić, the goalie, isn't necessarily considered to be one of the better Croatian keepers. I always talk about how Dalic needs to decide between Livakovic and Grbić. I guess he decided to put Ivušić in that equation as well. But my main concern about this back line is Chaleta Tsar. This guy is considered to potentially start for Croatia at the World Cup. He plays for Marseille at club level. Looked like he just kept going in the zone and out of the zone throughout the match. It just seems to be a theme for Croatia defenders in general. Lovren lives up to that stereotype the best because obviously he randomly looks like a god and then gets bashed a lot for being a very inconsistent player. And Zlatko Dalic really has got to decide who to end up starting for that back line. I don't think Pongracic is the answer for sure. Maybe Chaleta Tsar just had a one-off. And obviously Gvardiol was injured in this match, which was a heavy loss. But it doesn't matter. These players possess, or should be possessing, the quality to not concede 3 goals to a side like Austria. I wouldn't be that gutted if it were just like 1-0, but 3 goals is absolutely nuts. And who knows who will be fully fit for the World Cup, because at this rate, if we have some key players that will not be able to start by the time the World Cup rolls around, this match shows our depth is absolutely lacking. No matter the subs, this is inexcusable. Look, I'm seeing a lot of people saying, Sak Dalic, no. Give this man some time. Look, this is our first match since international break has begun. I'm afraid we're going to look a little bit more doubtful as time goes on because, like I said, this is supposed to be the match where we do grab a win. But Austria, bro, this side has a lot of quality players, don't get me wrong. But as a unit, they aren't as promising, and they were even missing the likes of Alaba and Hinteregger. And their defense was still able to close off our terrible attack. Okay, I'm sorry, I got ahead of myself. I honestly should have talked about Morocco first, as that was the first matchup to occur. But you can't blame me, I'm just too upset about that loss. Don't look as upset now because I got over it a bit. But if you want to see my full reaction, go check out my stream. Now for Morocco. Why is this Morocco loss big? Well, it's not even that I don't rate the USA highly. I think the USA is improving a lot. And this obviously will heavily boost their confidence, as Morocco is not a side to joke with. And some people, including me, are underestimating the USA. But obviously the main concern about why this match is a blow for Morocco is that the USA is a CONCACAF nation. And who else is a CONCACAF nation in Group F? Canada. Very impressive CONCACAF nation lately. Obviously, topped the CONCACAF World Cup qualifiers. And maybe Morocco weren't playing, the best lineup possible, but they still put a lot of key players on the pitch. Someone who I recently praised, Bono, was very dreadful in this match. This was one of the best keepers in La Liga, mind you. And he conceded some silly goals. Had some butterfinger moments in this match. Obviously, goalkeepers can never be perfect on every single day. But still, look, Morocco played 5 in the back. They still played Hakimi, who eventually came off. But Saiss as well, the defender on Wolves. Nayef Aguerd, who plays on Rennes. When you look at the stats, Morocco obviously clearly challenged the USA, but they couldn't convert their chances. The USA's tactics clearly worked out in their favor in this, and I could see Canada's working out well against a side like Morocco at this point if they play like this again. Canada's counterattacks and transitions are deadly, so Morocco definitely have to watch out. Lots of quality on the team, but look, this is just more of a sign. Bring back Ziyech. He will definitely help the creativity in the attack, score some goals for you as well. Halil Hodzic and Ziyech really got to squash that beef. It's time. I'm not even one to really wish this because I don't want Morocco to succeed, obviously, against Croatia, but it's just common sense at this point. He's genuinely one of, and if not, your best player on the national team. It's either him or Hakimi. Morocco have too much potential to do well in this World Cup, and it seems like it's all going to go to waste if they don't sort their shit out. And finally, let's move on to Belgium. Now, Belgium's loss might not be as hefty as, they did score a goal, and it was against the Netherlands. Netherlands, like I said, top team, very much improving, great side. Belgium obviously weren't starting Courtois, who was in amazing form, as we all know. The Champions League final was just an insane display from him. They decided to play Mignolet instead, and that obviously costed them. But regardless, my worries for the Belgian defense ended up being true. Toby Alderweireld, though he grabbed an assist at the very end for Batshuayi, he wasn't really energized enough in this match. In the center, they decided to start Boyato, who just seemed to be all over the place in that match, made a lot of clumsy mistakes. In the attack, Lukaku got injured during the match, which is obviously unfortunate, but still. You got Hazard, who is looking to improve his form for sure. He even announced that, but didn't really impress this match, obviously. Got subbed off as well. De Bruyne also played in the attack this match, and he's Belgium's best player without a doubt at the moment. And he did make some comments saying he's not looking forward to the Nations League as he thinks it's a silly competition, glorified friendlies and all that. He just wanted to rest after a tough and long season, but De Bruyne, when are you going to learn to practice with the squad before the big tournament? It seems like De Bruyne has just given up on the Belgium national team in terms of winning trophies, which a lot of people are at this point, as it seems like the golden generation is done. But it's just not the right attitude to go into this. At the moment, Belgium, Croatia, and Moroccan fans, we just got to sulk together about this. Hopefully we'll bounce back in the future and people will take our group more seriously. But right now, Group F went from being the group of death to the group of clowns. So like I stated earlier, unfortunately, I did this recording a tad bit too early and didn't even realize what's going on with the Canadian national team. When I initially recorded this earlier, I was saying that Canadians should be over the moon since all these teams obviously blew it this week. Gives them more confidence that they'll have the form, but now they're down bad, and depending on how you look at it, maybe a bit worse than the national teams that actually played and lost. The Canadian national team is currently protesting, not showing up for training, and refusing to play their friendly against Panama. All because the players think they deserve more pay since they qualified for the World Cup. This must mean they probably get paid f*** all. because my impression initially for the Canadian national team is the complete opposite to what I'd expect for them to do now in regards to this. To me, they look like a side with probably the most morale out of all of the World Cup teams. They were simply just happy to be in the competition. Football in Canada is obviously not that massive, so now that they're in the World Cup, the players are just simply demanding more. At the moment, we're obviously very far away from the World Cup, so this issue will probably die down over time, but it still makes you question things a little bit. When I filmed everything originally, I was under the assumption that Canada would be at an all-time high. To see all these teams that are in their group have blows this week, terrible defending altogether, Canada can definitely capitalize this in Qatar. And I don't mean to pry on the players, but yeah, they definitely got to sort this out before the tournament begins, because if the Canadian Federation does not fix the issue, whatever the players demand before the World Cup begins, who knows what squad they'll end up selecting before the World Cup starts. But the bottom line of this video is, all the national teams in Group F are not in the best standings right now. Let me know in the comments below who you think has it worse right now. At this current moment in time, there's obviously still a lot of other friendly matches, Nations League matches to go off of. It's kind of hard to judge too much off of these results, but it still leaves me worried for all the national teams regardless. They all simply just might be doomed from knockouts, especially if we gotta play either Spain or Germany most likely. It's gonna be tough out there, guys. But yeah, let me know in the comments also which teams you think will come back from this rut. Like this video if you haven't already, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you all very, very soon. Take care. La cu noci.